Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. 4 minutes. I don't do anything in 4 minutes. Okay. I wish my earbud would stay in for 4 freaking minutes. That would be freaking lovely. Breathe. Breathe through it. It's fine. So I thought we would find the video we're at together. Okay. This is where we're at, guys. You're going to feel such a sense of accomplishment. So we have to find the video that we're on right now. Almost. Almost there. Just a little bit more. Come on. Look at that, guys. Look at how far down we went. That's not the end, by the way. It just didn't load them all. We have a lot more to go. But we did a lot, didn't we? Let's get going. I don't hear.
Last night. Did you call my office and tell them where you were?
Sí.
Yes. And was a ticket then sent to you?
Sí.
Yes. And is your niece supposed to reimburse us for that ticket?
Sí. Sí.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you saw, did you see the video of Kristen Jeanette Meyer, the young lady from Court TV?
Video de Janet Myers de
Were
Court
you able to see that in court?
Yes.
¿Lo vio aquí? Yes. When you were talking to her and she walked past you and you're sitting there with your lawyer, was she harassing you in any way?
¿Ella la estaba hostigando a usted de alguna forma?
No.
No.
She have a camera in her hand?
¿Ella llevaba cámara en la mano?
No.
No. I didn't see that.
You reached out and told her that you enjoyed her on Court TV?
Se le acercó y le dijo que le gustaba verla en Court TV.
Se ve bonita.
That she looks pretty.
Would you consider her to be like the people who follow you at your home and at work?
Que la siguen en su trabajo y en su casa?
No.
No.
Was your lawyer sitting right by you when you talked to her?
¿Estaba sentado junto de usted cuando habló con ella?
Sí.
Yes.
And also at lunchtime today, who was sitting at the table with you at the time that we had our brief conversation, you and I?
Nuestra breve conversación usted y yo.
Patty McCann.
Patty McCann.
Irma.
And Irma.
Yes. Do you see this man here?
Yeah.
And that for the record, Mr. Howard Harris?
That's your Harris? Yeah.
And do you see a man walking with me who appeared to be, strike that.
About to object.
Oh, you don't have to object. Did, at the time that, did you see somebody walk in with me when I came in? May I ask if you answer that?
Yes.
Yes.
And did that person stand there and keep people away from me until I left?
Evitando que la gente se me
That probably is. What did you see that person do while I was standing there talking to you?
No me acuerdo. No me fijé bien qué hacía.
I don't remember. I didn't really pay attention to what he was doing.
And when I left from where you were,
Well, he's here, so we obviously
no, I'm
left.
still downstairs, Mr. Darden. Your Honor, may I proceed, Your Honor?
Please.
When I left, did you see that man leave with me?
¿Y usted que ese señor se fue conmigo?
No me fijé porque me quedé platicando con Irma.
I didn't pay attention because I was talking to Irma.
All right, and when you were sitting with your lawyer this morning in court, Mr. Jones, did you feel safe?
¿Se sintió usted segura? Yes.
Mr. Darden asked you some questions this morning about when you talked to your sister. Remember that?
¿Se acuerda?
Sí.
Yes.
And has your sister called to one of your relatives here in Los Angeles
¿Alguno de sus parientes aquí en
at any
Los
time in the
Ángeles?
recent past?
Últimamente?
No, a donde estoy ahorita llamó ella.
No, she called at the place where I am now.
All right. Has she talked to your niece or any of your other relatives recently?
Habló con mi sobrina.
She talked to my niece.
All right. You haven't talked to her personally.
No.
¿Ha hablado con ella personalmente? No.
And when you leave on this flight tomorrow night for El Salvador, what time will you arrive in El Salvador?
¿Va a llegar usted a El Salvador?
Since facts not in evidence and it's
Oral.
been no indication that she's leaving for herself.
Oral.
So tomorrow night.
A las 8 de la mañana, voy llegando a las 7:45 de la mañana llega el avión.
I will arrive at 8 in the morning. The plane comes in at 7:45 in the morning.
What time do you leave here?
¿A qué hora
Los
sale
Angeles.
aquí? Sale de Los
El avión
Ángeles.
sale a las 11.
The plane leaves at 11.
And that's on Taka, is that correct?
Es Taca, ¿correcto?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Lastly, with regard to the Salingers,
Con respecto a los Salingers.
when Mrs. Salinger told you that if you stayed longer than 2 weeks away, she would hire another housekeeper, that mean to you that perhaps she no longer wanted you?
¿Eso para usted quería decir que ella ya no la quería?
Sí.
Yes.
It's also leading, sustained, but the answer's already there. All right, ask the question again.
Certainly, Your Honor. What did you take Ms. Salinger to mean when she told you if you stayed longer than 2 weeks, you stayed longer than 1 week, she'd look for another housekeeper?
Ella iba a buscar otra housekeeper.
Que ella no me quería.
That she didn't want me anymore.
And that's when you then left?
¿Y es cuando se fue?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
And you have no other job, do
¿Y
you?
no tiene otro trabajo, verdad? No.
You mentioned to Mr. Darden that you came back from this other state because you felt a duty or an obligation to come and testify. Is that right?
Deber de venir a declarar, ¿correcto?
Sí, no quería que el juez quedara mal con todo el mundo, diciendo que era una mentirosa yo que no venía.
Yes, I didn't want the judge to look bad.
Did you hear her? I thought I heard her. She said Telemundo.
For everybody and saying that I was a liar and that I didn't come when I was told to.
You've
Okay.
been told you were due here Friday morning.
Le dijeron que tenía que estar aquí el viernes
Sí.
en la mañana. Yes.
Is that why you came back?
Por eso es que regresó.
Sí,
Yes.
And do you want to testify truthfully here today?
Con la verdad aquí el día de hoy?
sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Simpson is not a friend of yours, is
No
he?
es amigo de usted, ¿verdad?
No.
No.
He lived next door to where you live.
Él vive junto a donde usted
Sí.
vivía. Yes.
Thank you very kindly. Your Honor.
She's not his housekeeper. Someone said yesterday in comments. Not his housekeeper.
Ms. Lopez, you wanted to fly out of here and go to another state, is that correct?
¿Va a volar de aquí, correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
How are you going to leave from LAX tomorrow night if you're in another state?
Del aeropuerto de Los Ángeles mañana en la noche si está usted en otro estado.
Me voy a regresar otra vez mañana.
I will come back again tomorrow.
Without telling me where and which state you are headed today, can you tell me whether or not you're going to that state to gamble? To gamble.
Si va a ir usted a ese
I stipulate
estado
no,
a
she's
jugar juegos de azar.
No tengo dinero ni para comer, señor.
I don't even have money to eat, sir.
I'm not eating all day.
You don't have money to eat?
No, señor,
tiene dinero
tengo,
para
porque
comer.
tengo el de mi ticket nada más y yo quiero ahorrar para mi ticket de mi avión.
No, sir, because I only have enough for the ticket and I want to save it for my airplane ticket.
Do you expect to pay Mr. Jones his legal fees at some point?
Cross-examination, I never went into that.
Sustained. He's already testified once you was gonna do that.
You told us that Mr. Cochran sent you a plane ticket.
Is
that correct?
Sí.
Yes.
This morning, you told us that your niece purchased your plane ticket. Isn't that true? Isn't that what you told us this morning?
No es cierto, no es lo que nos dijo esta
Yes,
mañana.
can we have a yes or no answer, Your Honor?
Doesn't have to be a yes or no. She can explain that answer.
Isn't
Cochran just said that the niece is going to reimburse him for that ticket.
it true that this morning you told us that your niece purchased your plane ticket?
Sí.
Yes.
But now you're telling us that Mr. Cochran purchased your plane ticket, correct?
Overruled.
Correct?
Porque lo tiene que pagar otra vez. Hay que pagarle al señor.
Because she has to pay it back. The man has to be paid.
Si usted me presta $1, yo lo tengo que pagar atrás.
If you lend me $1, I have to pay you back.
Mr. Cochran has paid for your plane ticket, correct?
Yo no sé quién no me lo pagó.
I don't know who paid it for me.
Okay. Someone working for, okay. Well, your niece hasn't paid for
Bueno,
it,
su
correct?
sobrina no lo pagaba, ¿sí?
Correct?
¿Correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. And you say that you're terrified for your family, is that correct?
Aterrorizada por su familia, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
But your family hasn't made plans to go to El Salvador, have they?
Porque mi hija es ciudadana norteamericana, ¿quién quiere ser El Salvador?
We have a yes or
Because
no
my
answer?
daughter is a North American citizen. She has no business in El Salvador.
Motion to strike, Your Honor. It's not a motion.
Sorry. It'll stand.
But your daughter has not made plans to go to El Salvador, correct?
No ha hecho planes para ir a El Salvador, ¿correcto?
No lo sé.
I don't know.
You told us that you talked to Rosa Maria Villapando for 25 to 30 minutes, correct?
25 o 30 minutos, ¿correcto?
Ya.
Yeah.
And that's your estimate, correct?
¿Correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, you weren't watching the clock as you talked to her, correct?
No.
No.
Okay, so it could have been longer than 25 to 30 minutes, correct?
¿Correcto?
No sé.
I don't know.
Could have been an hour, correct?
Pudo haber sido una hora, ¿correcto?
No lo creo.
I don't think so.
Okay, but you don't know, do you?
Oh,
No lo sé.
I don't know.
And you don't know because you weren't wearing a watch,
No sabe
correct?
porque no traía puesto reloj, ¿correcto?
No.
No.
Okay. Were you wearing a watch?
¿Llevaba puesto reloj?
No.
No.
Okay. And you never wear a watch, do you?
Nunca usa reloj, ¿verdad?
Cuando quiero.
When I want to.
Okay. You rarely ever wear a watch, correct?
Oh.
¿Correcto?
¿Cuánto salgo?
When I go out.
You've been videotaped by several news crews out in front of the Salinger's residence, correct?
Equipos de noticias le han sacado video fuera de la casa de los Salingers, ¿correcto?
It's Your Honor. She's out.
I'm sorry?
I said, if she's out in front of the residence and she isn't wearing a watch, what's improper about that?
No.
What's
Beyond
improper about it?
It's beyond the scope.
Counsel asked about time.
No, I know where you're going with this. No, it's beyond the scope.
You also told us this afternoon that you asked your lawyer if you could leave, and he said yes. Correct?
¿Correcto?
Yes.
Yes.
Was that Mr. Jones or was that Mr. Johnny?
Mr. John.
He said it was okay to leave town? Okay.
¿Cómo dijo usted?
Mr. John.
Mr. John.
Jones.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, Mr. Carl John.
Mr. Carl Jones.
Okay. He said it was okay to leave town?
¿Dijo que usted se podía ir de la ciudad?
Sí.
Yes.
He said it was okay to go to El Salvador?
¿Podía irse a El Salvador?
Yes.
Yes.
Did he say it was okay to stay there as long as you liked?
¿Quisiera?
Yes.
Yes.
And did he say it would be good if you stayed there as long as you liked?
Todo el tiempo que quisiera?
No.
No.
Someone called a travel agent this afternoon for you?
¿Agente de viajes esta tarde por usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Who called the travel agent?
Patty.
Patty?
And who's Patty?
Se lo fuera.
He went outside. ¿Cómo?
Patty Mechanic.
Patty McKenna.
Okay. Mr. McKenna called the travel agent for you?
¿Llamó la agente de viaje por usted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He helped you get your plane
¿Le
ticket?
ayudó a conseguir su boleto de avión?
No, no hemos hablado de boleto de avión.
No, we haven't talked about a plane ticket.
Okay, well, he made reservations for you?
¿Esas reservaciones?
Yo hablé con la muchacha, yo le dije que quería que me reservara mi ticket para mañana.
I talked to the girl. I told her that I wanted her to reserve my ticket for tomorrow.
Okay, and that was after Mr. McKenna called her for you, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Mr. McKenna offer to help pay for your plane ticket?
¿Ofreció ayudar con el pago de su boleto?
No, señor.
No, sir.
You also told us this afternoon that you made a reservation earlier this month to go to El Salvador, correct?
¿Correcto?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a direct contradiction to what you told us this morning, correct?
Dijo esta mañana.
Witnesses answered yes.
Objection from that. His argument.
Oh,
We have the answer. Um,
I don't believe so. Ask the question again. I don't have it in the record.
okay. This afternoon, you testified that you actually made a reservation earlier this month, correct?
¿Correcto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But that contradicts what you told us this morning, doesn't it?
Esta mañana no es así. Espere.
Overruled. Overruled.
Conteste.
Doesn't it?
¿No es así? Yes.
Because she was not asked whether she made a reservation earlier.
And she was asked if she had made
Yes,
any.
yes, it is. And she's admitted that it's contradictory. All right, council, we need to take a brief recess for both the court reporter and the interpreter. We'll stand in recess for 15.
And us,
Right,
Judge,
Lopez,
we
you
need
can
a
sit
break
down.
too, you know, because none of this makes sense to us because we don't care
Unless we're doing
if
exhibits.
she wears a watch.
Yeah, but part of the deal is that they put everything back. All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter. The defendant's again present before the court with his counsel. People are represented. Ms. Lopez, would you come forward, please?
You have the persons included previously in the courtroom?
Yes, they are. All right, record should reflect the presence of our certified Spanish interpreter, Doris Whites. Good afternoon, Ms. Lopez. You're reminded that you are still under oath. Mr. Darden, you may conclude your recross examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lopez, are you aware that in El Salvador today, that there are many, many billboards that say, if you see Rosa Lopez, call this number? Okay. Are you?
What's your offer of proof on that, Mr. Darden? You asking that question?
Pardon?
What's your offer
Oh,
of proof on
good
asking that question?
question. I don't know.
A member of the press just gave us that information, Your Honor.
The press should be objective, Your Honor.
And if it's true, then it's subjective.
Are they sworn? That's the problem with the question.
Are you sworn? I'm
All
asking.
right, I'm gonna
She speaks to
sustain.
people in El Salvador. Maybe she knows this. If she
Well, she's
doesn't,
indicated so far that she hasn't talked to anybody in El Salvador in the last 2
Late.
weeks.
like,
All right, I'm gonna sustain the objection. This doesn't help me a lot.
you told us this morning, strike that. You mentioned to us a little while ago that a security guard at the unemployment office frightened you in some manner.
Sí.
Yes.
And what was it about the security guard that frightened you?
El guardia de seguridad.
No es que me asuste, sino que no me gusta que me digan una cosa que no lo soy. ¿Para qué me dijo que era la housekeeper de Mr. Simpson? ¿Sí?
It's not that it scares me, it's just that I don't like being told something that I'm not. Why does he tell me that I'm Mr. Simpson's housekeeper?
Well, no one has threatened to beat you up or anything, correct?
O hostigarla.
No.
No.
Overall, she says she's in fear of her personal safety, according to the declaration.
All right. No one has threatened to beat you up, correct?
A mí no.
Not me.
Okay. Okay. And you say that your daughter told you something about the people on the other side?
La gente del otro lado, los contrarios.
No de ustedes, sino que no le gusta.
Not about
Tiene
you,
miedo.
but that she doesn't like it. She's afraid.
But she told you that
Cuando ella le dijo,
you should be concerned about the people on the other side, correct?
preocupar de los contrarios, ¿correcto?
Correct?
¿Correcto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who are the people on the other side?
De la
Ay, yo
otra
no
parte, los
sé.
contrarios. I don't know.
Okay. Are they black people?
¿Los negros?
No.
Mm.
Si yo no sé.
No, I don't know.
No me especifico.
She didn't specify.
What else do you have? So no one has threatened you with any physical harm, correct?
Daños físicos, ¿correcto?
Correct?
¿Correcto?
Pero muchas de mis amistades dicen que tenga mucho cuidado porque este caso está muy difícil y que me pueden llegar a matar.
But many of my friends tell me to be very careful because this case is very difficult and that I could even be killed.
But no one has threatened you with physical harm.
Pero nadie
Correct.
está amenazado con daños físicos, ¿correcto?
No.
No.
When you spoke to your lawyer, did he tell you that you could testify on tape?
¿Testificar en grabación, en cinta?
Sí.
Yes.
Did he tell you that you could do that and not be required to testify in open court?
¿Y no tener la necesidad de declarar en el tribunal?
Sí.
She doesn't
Yes.
So
know.
that's really what you would rather do, correct?
Y eso es lo que usted preferiría hacer, ¿correcto?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You rather testify on tape than have to testify in front of all of these people, correct? Well,
Or will. Do you understand the question?
¿Entiende la pregunta?
No.
No.
Rephrase the question.
well, when you testify on tape, if you know, who else will be present?
¿Quién estaría presente si es que sabe usted?
No sé.
I don't know.
Okay. Is it your understanding that it'll only be you and the judge and the lawyers?
No sé.
I don't know.
Why would you rather testify on tape?
Quería, pero ahora ya todos me están viendo aquí. ¿Para qué me voy a ir?
I wanted to, but now everybody's looking at me here, so why should I leave?
My point exactly, nothing further.
With regard to your statement about why should you leave, do you still want to go to El Salvador?
¿No se quiere ir a El Salvador?
Sí, señora.
Yes, sir. And I'm leaving. I'm leaving now. I'm leaving tomorrow.
And do you have a place to stay in Los Angeles, California, a place where you can spend the night
¿Donde
even?
puede pasar la noche?
No, señor.
No, sir.
Your daughter came back on Tuesday night from New York. Remember you testified about that?
¿Declaró usted eso?
When she came back Tuesday from New
¿Ella
York, your
regresó el
daughter?
martes de Nueva York, su hija?
Sí.
Yes.
The two of you had an argument at that point, is that correct?
Tuvieron una discusión en ese momento,
All right.
pero no conteste.
All right. Did the two of you have an argument that night?
Ustedes dos.
There's absolutely nothing Johnny Cochran can do or say to make us believe any single thing that this witness will ever say for the rest of her life.
No, that's not legal, counsel.
Yes.
Yes.
And after that, did you have any place to stay here in Los Angeles Tuesday night?
No, dormí en la calle.
No, I slept on the street,
And in what did you sleep in?
En el carro.
in the car.
And after, if tonight in Los Angeles, do you have any place you can go and sleep tonight?
No.
Is that why you're going to go back to that other state tonight?
¿A ese otro estado esta noche?
Yes.
Yes.
All the while you're working at the Salingers, when you weren't at work with the Salingers, where did you live?
Trabajaba con los Sanitors. ¿Dónde vivía?
Con mi hija.
With my daughter.
And your dispute,
Y su
an argument with your daughter is over what?
pelea con su hija es con relación a qué?
Por el caso este.
Because of this case, coming to testify.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Someone help me out here. I don't think the jury's in. I don't think this has anything to do with the OJ case right now. This is just them trying to see if she will testify in front of the jury. So, okay, so that's even wrong. So it's still the prosecution's turn. All right. The defense wants to shove this witness ahead of everybody else and have her on the stand right now. And it's not their turn. So this is just a hearing to decide whether they will let her testify before anyone else. And the reason why they have to let her testify before anyone else is because she's in fear for her life and she has to move to El Salvador tomorrow. So they need for her to testify in front of the jury right away because she's testifying in the OJ case, she's going to die. Like, people are threatening her life. But she's a huge liar. And Cochran is a huge liar. And they're all huge liars.
And because of this case, you have no place to stay. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you talk to Mr. Jones about whether or not you could
Depends what I'm hungry
go
for.
to El Salvador, tell us what, if anything, you asked Mr. Jones about going to El Salvador.
Yo le dije si me podía ir a El Salvador porque estaba
Neptune
muy
Diner.
tengo mucha presión con este caso.
Ay.
Que yo me quería ir a El Salvador. Él me dijo, sí, me puedo ir cuando usted quiera. Usted no es prisionera de este país. Usted se puede ir a donde usted quiera.
I asked him if I could go to El Salvador because I have a lot of pressure because of this case. And he said to me, you can go whenever you want to. You are not a prisoner in this country.
Después que testificar aquí.
But after I testified here.
All right. And is that why you came back here voluntarily today? Because you promised your lawyer you'd come back to appear before Judge Ito?
Sí.
Yes.
And ma'am, if we don't finish these proceedings today, and you had to come back on Monday, do you have any place to stay this weekend?
No, y yo no quiero volver el lunes para acá.
No, and I don't want to come back here on Monday.
All right. Do you want to come back in a couple of months to testify in this case?
No, señor, yo no quiero volver acá.
No, sir, I don't want to come back here.
And why is that?
¿Por qué es eso?
Porque no quiero volver a este país donde que todos me conocen, todos me miran y yo ya no quiero volver a testificar. Yo no quiero. Yo dije que venía ahora a testificar. Era ahora.
Because I don't want to come back here where everybody knows me, everybody looks at me. I don't want to come back to testify. I said that I would come today, and I came today, but I don't want to testify again.
And are you still afraid for your personal safety?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. A couple of questions, John.
Couple.
Ms. Lopez, you have a lot of respect for Judge Ito, don't you?
Tiene mucho respeto por el juezito, ¿no es así? Yes.
If he
Hey guys, can you do me a favor? It's someone's birthday today. Can you, in comments later, it would be better on the other video. But this video is fine. She's not in here right now, but can you everybody wish Rebecca, throw the goat, the happiest birthday ever? It's important for her today. Give her a great big happy birthday. Let her know she's loved. She could use it right now. Okay? Tell Rebecca happy birthday later.
provides you with a plane ticket and a hotel room, and if he orders you to return to El Salvador to testify, will you return?
Me parece mucho, señor juez, pero no vengo.
I like you very much, Your Honor, but I won't come back.
I love you in
Me
your
voy a
picture.
otro país, señor.
I will go to another country, sir.
Lo respeto muchísimo.
And I respect you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Gracias, señor.
Would your lawyer tell
Judge, they're only paying me to be here for today. They didn't say I would get paid if I come back later.
you to tell the judge that you will not come
¿Le
back?
dijo usted que le diga al juez que no regresara? Espérese.
Overruled.
No.
No.
Do you understand Mr. Cochran's objection?
¿Entendiste la objeción?
I know. 1 second, guys. I know. I understand. You can't hear anything. Headphones. I hope that works. Can you hear now? Tell me if you can hear now. All right. Can you hear me? You should be able to hear me right now. Just me. Should be able to hear me. No, you can't hear me? You can't. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to press play. You should be able to hear it now.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you have a place to stay when you go to El Salvador?
I have my home there.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Lopez. I'm going to excuse you from the witness stand at this time. I'm going to ask you to wait outside in the hallway. And Mr. Cochran, sorry, Mr. Jones, would you sit with her out in the hallway, please? All right, thank you.
Mr. Jones, go sit in the hallway.
I'm going to approach that. I want to.
All right.
Just a few moments ago, or when her name was mentioned, that the people were apprised that this witness.
Thank you,
testified
Walter.
in this hearing. We've received no discovery.
I have no discovery.
And we've received very little information in terms of what this witness is expected to testify to. And so I object to counsel calling her at this time.
We all know what she's going to testify to.
Noted. Overruled. All right, ma'am, would you step over here, stand over here by the projector here? Would you face the court clerk and raise your right hand, please?
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pleading before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Please have a seat in the witness stand and state and spell your first and last name for the record. Thank you.
All right. All right, good afternoon, ma'am. Would you please state and spell your name?
Spell my name?
State and spell your name, please.
Okay, my name is Zulema, and it's spelled Zulema.
There you go,
And what
Fozzie.
is your last name?
My last name is Ida
IIDA.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Carter.
Thank you very kindly. Miss Ida, when is the first time we ever met?
Today, right by the door?
A short time ago in the hallway there?
Yes.
All right. And what is your occupation, ma'am?
I am a travel agent,
And by whom are you employed?
Pan Americana Travel System.
And where is your office? Where was it located?
The address,
Yes, ma'am.
it's 6344 San Fernando Road in the city of Glendale.
And did you see the lady who just went out in the hall just before you came in, whose name is Rosa Maria Lopez? Do you know her?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know Rosa Lopez?
Because she buys tickets from me to go to El Salvador.
And over what period of time have you come to know Rosa Lopez, if you can tell us?
For almost a year, about a year.
And do you recall that she has purchased more than one ticket to El Salvador? for you?
Yes,
And is that through Pan Americana Travel System?
yes.
How long have you worked at that travel system?
That specific location for 1 year.
All right. And before that, did you work for some other location for the same company?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the other time or times that Ms. Lopez has purchased tickets, do you remember what country she was going to?
Yes.
And what country was that?
El Salvador.
And do you remember what airline she flew on?
TACA or United.
All right. In that connection, if you recall, did you have occasion to make any reservations for Ms. Rosa Lopez at any time during the first part of February to go to
I'm
El
not
Salvador?
speaking.
Yes.
And when was that? When did you make those reservations, if you recall?
It was about beginning of February that she wanted to leave on 15th of February just one way.
15th of February?
Yes.
That was a Wednesday. And did you make any reservations for her?
Yes, I did.
And do you remember what airline those were made on?
Not exactly, but I think TACA or United.
All right. And obviously she didn't go on February 15th. Is that
No.
correct? Those reservations expired?
Yes.
All right. You've received a call over the lunch hour from a Mr. Pat McKenna, did you today?
Yes.
And were you asked to come down to court this afternoon?
Yes.
At my request, have you had occasion to check to determine whether or not there is a flight to El Salvador tomorrow night leaving Los Angeles International Airport at about 11 o'clock p.m.?
Yes. The
And what airline is that on?
United.
And is there also a TACA flight?
Yes.
There are two flights, one TACA, one United?
There's several.
Okay, several flights.
Mhm.
And is there a nonstop flight tomorrow night?
I believe this flight, it's nonstop that leaves tomorrow night.
And is that flight, and at my
Hi,
request, did you
Jen.
check to see if there was a nonstop flight available to El Salvador, leaving Los Angeles International Airport tomorrow night? That there are tickets available or seats available?
Yes, there are.
On the other occasion or occasions that you recall, Ms. Lopez traveling with your agency, do you recall how she paid for her fare?
Yes.
And how did she?
Cash.
And with regard to flying either on TACA or United, are you able to pay for the tickets on the same day that you leave if seats are available?
Yes.
And if you can tell us the approximate fare one way to El Salvador from Los Angeles International Airport.
About 317.
All right.
It varies.
All right. It's 300 plus. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that, if one had that amount of money and there are seats available tomorrow night
Yes.
on that flight,
Yes.
what time would that flight arrive in El Salvador, if you know?
6 a.m., 6:10 a.m.
Very well. And you came down per our request without a subpoena. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you very kindly.
Certainly.
He just called a witness in the OJ case without a subpoena. We see that witnesses do not show up without subpoenas all the time.
The counselor indicating that the real-time computer on their desk has frozen. Court reporters indicate that after the tripod fell on this court reporter's machine, that it's been freezing.
Is there a working around?
No, I don't believe so. The testimony was rather brief, though.
What they do before they had real time? They get notes.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to have technical issues.
Slight technical problem here.
Okay. How long have you been working at that travel agency?
1 year.
1 year?
Yes.
And during that year, you've learned to book flights on to Salvador?
Yes.
And what airlines do you book flights to Salvador with?
United, TACA, Aviateca, LATSA. Those are the most that I use.
And Salvador, that's a pretty popular destination place. You book a lot of flights to Salvador.
Yes.
Do you have any records of the reservations you made for Rosa Lopez on February 15th?
No, because we changed the same reservation.
So you don't have any paperwork to show that you made that reservation on February 15th, is that right?
That's right.
And ordinarily, when you make reservations for a flight to Salvador, you fill out some kind of a ticket form, don't you?
Yes and no, because when you just go straight to the computer and you just fill in all the information directly to the computer.
Right. And you type it right into the computer and that goes straight to the airline, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay. And so you would have done that for Rosa Lopez on February 15th, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And so you should be able to pull up some record if you wanted to print out the activity that you did for the month of February. That printout should show a reservation that you made for Rosa Lopez on February 15th, isn't it?
And not if you cancel it or if you make changes to the reservation.
Okay, if you canceled it, then wouldn't you have some record of the fact that it was canceled, that the reservation was made and canceled?
I don't think so.
How many times have you booked flights for Rosa Lopez in the past year to Salvador?
I put orders in at work all the time for food. And if I cancel them, they're gone. No, I can't pull up later and show that I put an order in and canceled it.
To be honest, I don't know the exact number, but probably 2 or 3.
Okay, and when did you book those?
One that I remember was in November.
Okay, and when in November?
The date,
Again, this isn't about OJ right now. This is only if we want the housekeeper, the next door neighbor's housekeeper, to testify before she's allowed to in a couple months. That's all we're worried about. And who knows how many months it's going to take to find that out.
middle of November.
You don't remember the date?
No.
And did she go on that? Did she actually go to Salvador on that occasion?
Yes, because she had the ticket.
And what airline did she fly on?
At that time was, I believe, TACA or United.
And she came back after that? And did she fly again?
No, it's not. I don't think so.
After she came back, no.
Did she go earlier in the year?
What I remember, no.
So she only, from the time that you've been working at that agency, during the year of 94, she went once and she went in November. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you have any Let me ask you this. In this month of February, how many reservations have you made in general for El Salvador?
For Rosa,
No,
for
in
in
general.
general, it's hard to say. Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yes.
Over 1,000. Do you remember the names of all the people you booked those to?
Just few.
Okay. How is it you remember Rosa Lopez?
Because she calls me on the phone, and she always calls me to find out how the price is, and she wants to come and get the ticket when the price is down.
When did you first get the call to come to court today?
This morning at about 12.
And who called you?
Pat, I think
Pat?
his name. Yes.
Pat McKenna?
Yes, I think so.
And did he tell you that he wanted you to come in and testify that you booked Rosa Lopez a flight on February 15th?
Or will? Do you understand the question, ma'am?
Would you repeat the question?
I'm sorry.
Would you repeat the question?
All right, we've learned a million times, if you're in court and you don't want to answer a question, ask the lawyers to say it again. Ask it again, because none of them remember the question they just asked.
Yes. I can't. I can't. Did Mr. McKenna tell you that he wanted you to come in and testify that Rosa Lopez booked a flight to Salvador with you on February 15th?
No, I don't think so.
What did he tell you?
He told me that he wanted me to come to court, and he asked me questions about her, that when she was leaving, and
What did he ask you?
he asked me what airline she was leaving, at what time.
Did he ask if you remembered that she had booked a flight with you earlier this month?
Yes, yeah, I think so. He asked me.
Is that what he asked you?
Yes.
And did he also ask you whether you remembered canceling that reservation?
Yes, when Rosa called, we made a reservation. We usually make reservations, and the passenger changes her mind. In this case, like in Rosa, she changed her mind for the 15th of February. Then we book a round trip reservation.
And who told you the date was February 15th?
Well, Rosa.
Rosa, she told you?
Yeah.
When did she tell you that? Today?
Today, and also when she called, that was I think beginning of February.
When did you talk to Rosa today?
What time? You mean what time?
Yes, what time?
It was about noontime.
It can't be, because Rosa said she did not do that. One of them are lying. Make them fight over it. Every single thing we've heard from Rosa has been just a lie. I bet her name's not even Rosa.
Madam Reporter.
What time after it was that noontime?
And you spoke to Rosa Lopez on the telephone?
Yeah. Yes.
And after that, did you speak to Mr. McKenna?
You mean Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
So first you spoke to Rosa Lopez, is that right?
Right.
And then you spoke to Pat McKenna, is that right?
Yes.
When Rosa talked to you, did she tell you that she wanted you to come in and testify that she had booked a flight earlier this month for Salvador?
Overruled.
Well, she's always talking about her flights, and I believe she did.
Well, but when she talked to you today,
Yes.
did she ask you to come to court and testify that you booked a flight for her to Salvador earlier this month?
Yes.
And did she tell you what date she wanted you to testify to?
Well, when she called, she told me she wanted to leave on the 15th of February.
No, I'm talking about your conversation with her today.
Oh, today. Yeah, she reminded me about that.
She reminded you.
Yes.
She told you to say that it was on February 15th when you came to court. Is that right?
This is a new
Object,
witness.
Your Honor. Your Honor.
Overruled. Overruled. Why don't you restate the question?
And did she tell you to say it was on February 15th that you
Yes.
booked the flight for her?
Yeah, she remind me,
Mhm.
yes.
She told you to come in and tell that to the court, is that right?
Jack, that's not what she said. She
said she
reminded everybody.
Oh, well, I heard,
She-
counsel, I heard the testimony. Let's finish this.
We're never going to
Yeah,
finish
she
this.
remind me.
Actually, the OJ trial is still going on today. We still don't know an answer because it's never going to end. It's like we're in a nightmare. But then Bill walks in, and then it's not a nightmare anymore.
Because you didn't know that on your own.
Not really, no.
Now, isn't it true that you have actually booked a flight to El Salvador for Rosa Lopez due to leave on March the 15th and return on March the 20th?
Yes,
And which airline is that?
United.
United. Can you tell us how much that ticket is?
At this moment, it's about $452, including taxes.
Is that round trip?
That's a round trip.
Good deal.
And that, I'm sorry, what was that amount again?
$452.
All right, that's a round trip fare.
Yes,
And what's the one-way fare?
about 320 or 315, including taxes.
Mm-hmm. And did you tell Mr. Cochran about this round trip ticket you booked for Rosa Lopez in March to and from El Salvador?
Yes,
You told him about that, did you?
yes.
And when did you tell him about that?
Today,
Today, when you talked to him at noon?
yes.
What are the snacks on board?
Okay, now has that ticket been paid for, that round trip ticket?
No,
Do you have a requirement that it be paid for within 24 hours of the
Especially since you don't book flights for other people.
reservation?
yes. To keep the fare, the
Mhm.
price of the fare.
To keep the price of the fare, but the reservation still stands, isn't that right?
That's right.
So as of now, Rosa Lopez is scheduled to fly out to El Salvador on March the 15th and return on March the 20th to Los Angeles. Isn't that right?
As of right now, we made a change. She's leaving tomorrow night, one-way ticket.
And when did that change occur?
Today,
What time today?
and around noontime, after I talked to her.
After she called you and asked you to come to court,
Yes,
and that was after noon.
yes, when I talked to her.
See, she's such a liar. Oh my gosh. Pretzels
I have nothing
and
further.
cookies.
Mr. Cochran?
Zayda, the reservations that you referred to that were for March, whatever
You're
it was in
welcome.
March, when were those reservations made?
Would you repeat the question?
The reservations that you were just talking to Ms. Clark about that you'd said were made like in March, that was a round trip for $400+.
Yes.
You know when those reservations were made?
21st of February.
All right. And then with regard to that, the reservations that were made at the 1st of February,
Yes.
when was that? That was a round trip ticket or a one-way ticket?
The first time we made the reservation was a one-way ticket.
All right. And with Ms. Clark asked you some questions about whether or not your memory was reminded or refreshed by Rosa Lopez.
Mhm.
Do you recall that you actually made those reservations for the 1st of February?
I recall.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's your best recollection of the date that Ms. Lopez was supposed to leave to go from LAX to El Salvador?
Well, 15th of February.
All right. And then she did not take that trip, obviously. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then with regard to the reservations that she asked you about on March, what was the date, do you recall?
March. I'm sorry, what is that?
What was the date in March?
When she wants to leave?
Yes.
I believe it's 13th of March.
All right. And do you know whether or not that ticket's ever been paid for?
Those tickets have not been paid for.
They've not been paid for?
No,
And they were made on February 21st?
they were made on February 21st.
And if you don't pay for them within 24 hours, what happens to the tickets or the reservations?
The reservation remains there, and the price may go up or may go down.
All right. The only way you reserve the actual fare is you pay for it within 24 hours of the date that you make the reservation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the 21st of February was last Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes, I think
And
so.
Now, you indicated in response to Ms. Clark's questions that Ms. Lopez has asked you, and she now has reservations on a flight leaving here tomorrow night.
Correct.
And what's that fare?
One-way fare for tomorrow night will be $297 and 14, about $320, something like that.
$320.
Yes,
And when does that have to be paid for by?
24 hours or tomorrow.
All right, so it's made today, so you have to pay for it either in 24 hours or before
Tomorrow.
the flight.
Before the flight.
All right. The other reservations for later in March, she'll take whatever she can get if she tries to use those later. Is that correct? If she hasn't paid for them now?
Say that again?
Sure. With regard to that, she's not paid for those tickets. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Uh-huh.
And so the reservations will still stand, but there are no tickets. Is that right?
That's right.
That was made on February 21st.
That's right. That's correct.
And that was made after the reservations you testified about that were made in the first part of February. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or February 15th?
February, sometime in beginning of February.
Do you know of anything that unusual happened in Rosa Lopez's life on February 21st? Did she talk to you about that at all?
Objection.
Can you answer that? She knows?
Hearsay.
Anything unusual? That's hearsay. You
Did she tell you anything?
can say yes or no. Did Rosa Lopez?
What's it relevant?
I can link it up. May I proceed?
Ask the question, but I'm suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
All right.
Did Rosa Lopez tell you anything at all?
I've heard that
when
before.
she made the reservations on February 21st, if you recall.
Thank you. No.
All right. Were those reservations made through you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very kindly. Okay.
Ms. Clark?
Yes, very briefly.
What time in the morning does your agency open?
9 in the morning.
9 in the morning. And as of 9 this morning,
Yes.
the reservations you had for Rosa
I've
Lopez
noticed.
were a
Not
round
yet,
trip
Fozzie. I'm
ticket
working on it.
to El Salvador and to return to Los Angeles in March of this year. Is that right?
That's right.
Were you watching these proceedings in court this morning?
No.
You didn't. Do you have a television set in your agency?
No.
Were you listening to it on the radio?
No.
The tickets from February 21st for March were never paid for. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In the past,
Ask and answer.
in the past, like Rosa Lopez, has she made reservations in the past? And they've also not been paid for
Objection irrelevant.
by the time the flight.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
What's the question?
In the past, has Rosa Lopez made other reservations other than the one in February, the early part of February, that was for February 15th, in which she did not take that particular flight?
You mean she made a reservation and didn't go? Yes.
That's happened in the past.
It happened in the past. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Clark? All right, Ms. Ida, thank you very much for coming. You're now excused. Mr. Cochran, anything else for the, on behalf of the moving party?
I'm not a witness at this point.
All right. Anything on behalf of the opponents? Sure.
Happy birthday, Nancy. Happy birthday.
Mr. Darden?
Cite Mr. Jordan again. Come on.
All right. I'll hear argument from the proponent.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. The court has heard the testimony and, as usual, has been patient with regard to the evidence that's been presented. The court has for its consideration Ms. Rosa Maria Lopez, a lady who has relevant testimony to give in this case. She's an important witness for the defense, I think.
Oh,
by
I highly doubt
all
it.
accounts. That's why both sides
I highly doubt she has any information at all that will help either side.
are fighting, it seems, so vigorously. The question
Plus, she's a damn liar. Everything she says has been a lie.
is whether or not the proponent has met their burden with regard to showing that there's a reasonable likelihood that she's going to leave this jurisdiction. The evidence to me seems to be clear, Your Honor. Ms. Lopez is a woman whose face has been broadcast even through counsel's examination, literally around the world, by virtue of the great interest in this case. I suppose that the individuals who framed 1335 probably didn't have this case in mind, as did, I think, anybody could have had this case in mind. Here's a lady who's a housekeeper, who has no other means of support, whose family has been torn asunder by the fact that she witnessed something that will bear on Mr. Simpson's innocence. And that may not be fair to her, but she has acted, it seems to me, out of it a sense of duty. She's had a lawyer, Mr. Jones, who's advised her throughout. And it seems to me that the court has to look at the things that's happened to this lady. She had a job of some 3 years with the Salingers. She doesn't have that job anymore. This isn't a wealthy lady, Your Honor. Well, you worked for 3 years with a family who, by and large, was pretty happy with you. But I would suspect, and I think it's reasonable, that when this case comes into your life, things happen and things change. We've all seen what this has done to our lives and to witnesses' lives, which is even more important. The Salingers, she said, have not been happy with the fact they've come about. The fact that Mr. Darden brings out there's a gate out there is of no consequence. She's the housekeeper. The fact that gate may be closed on one day, that doesn't mean the press, she's not been a virtual prisoner in her home on occasions. She works out there perhaps 5 days a week. But when this case started, she had a son and a daughter, Your Honor. Her family wasn't torn asunder. When she goes home to her daughter's house, the problems have started. The daughter says that you brought the press to us. The whole fact that we have this tape from Channel 34
It's his
is
turn
because
to
the
argue.
press found this lady. The courts read this statement Mr. Darden gave us. They said, we in the community, we found her. This lady wanted anonymity. That's all she's ever asked for. She didn't ask to be thrust in the spotlight, and it's outrageous that she's been treated like some kind of a criminal when she is a witness in this case. It's outrageous. And so what happened is that she's out minding her own business last Friday. She is apparently accosted. She has a conversation with a lady. She then calls her lawyers. A declaration is done. And I went through certainly the key portions of that declaration, and specifically paragraph 7. It is not required that she believes that somebody's going to walk up or somebody threatens her with physical violence. She says she's afraid. She's afraid for her life. She's afraid for the safety of her family, that her daughter told her, if you go and testify in that case, I'm not going to be your daughter anymore, and you're not going to see your grandchildren anymore. And her daughter apparently meant it, because when her daughter came back from working in New York on Tuesday, Your Honor, Rosa Lopez was thrown out. Rosa Lopez spent the night in her car on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, she left the state. Now, to her everlasting credit, despite what the people think, this lady called on her own yesterday to Mr. Jones in the afternoon. The court's aware of that because when I got a call at 5 o'clock, we made arrangements to bring her back here today. She's back. She was in another state. She has no place to live here. She doesn't have her daughter anymore. Her family's been torn asunder. And now we're being...
She called on her own, and she's back because you're paying her money.
Told that, well, gee, if you go to El Salvador, they'll know about you there. Those are the reason. You know, if this is a case about the search for truth, why not let her testify? Why should her life be ruined? Some of us have to be here every day because this is our job. But she is an unwitting and unwilling participant. And it seems to me, where this court
That's
has
all of you
discretion
guys.
and wisdom and judgment, this is the kind of call that we ask you to make. This is a witness. And the message we send to all these witnesses will set the standard for how people should be treated and whether or not they want to become involved in this system. Rosa Lopez's testimony will rise or fall on what she has to say on the critical events of June 12th, 1994. The people seem to want to fight that. They seem to be very afraid of what she may say at that time. She's a witness. And Mr. Simpson's behalf, we have to bring this motion. If a witness says to us, and her declaration says, I am going to El Salvador and I'm not coming back. And it seemed to me that perhaps the most relevant testimony was a couple of Mr. Darden's very key questions at the end. He asked, you have great respect for Judge Ito? She says, yes, I do. I like him very much, but I'm not coming back because I've had it. And Judge, if you put yourself in her place, who'd want to come back and be subjected to all kind of questions? When all you come in and say is, look, I'm afraid for my safety. Who among us can say she's not telling the truth? None of us can do that. She says, I have nothing to do with this case except I'm a witness and I'm afraid.
I've just said it like 18 times and I've only been streaming for an hour. She is a liar, a whole liar.
For my safety, I want to go back to my homeland where I have a home. I don't have a home in Los Angeles. I don't want to reveal to you where I had to go the other day when I flew back here tonight. And I want to go.
Nothing bad happened to me the other day. It was just some upsetting news about somebody else, about nothing to do with me at all. It was just too sad for me. And I'm fine. Perfectly fine.
Go back to that place.
It was
My
happy
bags
news,
are packed
actually.
for over a month, she
Sad.
says. And then we bring in a travel agent who she's dealt with. I think it's of no moment she has a reservation in March or whatever. Travel agent said she made a reservation for February 15th she couldn't keep. We know that her daughter was out of town. When her daughter came back, the split occurred, and now she wants to go. But in the final analysis, it's Rosa Lopez who this court has to believe. If she says, I'm not coming back, I'm leaving, I think you can believe that. Here's a woman who didn't have to come back today. That's the point. They can never get over this point. We did not know where she was until she called Mr. Jones yesterday afternoon because of the split with her daughter. She came back on her own and said, I will come, I will testify, I want to resolve it today. But again, Judge, is it her fault that everything in this case takes much longer than we anticipate? So do we say to Rosa Lopez, okay, you're a good citizen. If you felt the duty, you came back. Now I'm going to make you stay here till Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. She doesn't want to do that, and that's not fair. So I would ask the court to grant this
Care?
motion.
You mean
And
like
I
what you're
asked her,
doing?
and Darden asked her, and she said not only does she doesn't want to come back on Monday, she didn't want to come back in 3 months. The court's aware of the law. If we lose her,
Every single person here knows she ain't moving to El Salvador. In 3 months, guaranteed she's going to be back at her house, right here, able to testify.
she's a relevant, important witness in this case in the search for justice. So I don't know how we can afford to lose her under the circumstances. But on the other hand, I don't think this court can lock her up. This is a voluntary witness who came back here on her own with the understanding. She said, I want to get this over with in one day and go on with my life. And she has a right. She is a free citizen that she should be able to go where she wants to go under the circumstances. She's made her claim, and I trust
Like
the court
Bible
will
school to
believe what
learn
she's
not
had to
to
say. That
lie.
she's in fear, and I think the court can read and look at this woman. You saw her tearful testimony with regards to what she had to say. This woman is afraid. She doesn't want to be here. She didn't want a picture blasted all over the place. She had a different conception of what it meant
She has
to
a
have your
knife right
testimony
in her
taken.
little
And
pocket.
she thought, I believe that it was
She
the
ain't afraid
judges,
of
the
no one.
lawyers, and whatever. But even when she got here today and saw the fact that there was a camera here, she still said, I'm willing to try and testify. But I want to testify today. I don't want to have to come back in the future. I want to say what I have to say and get it over with. She said she's under great stress. And also, I'd point out to the court that the testimony unrebutted is that there's a problem of a history of heart ailments with this family. She has every reason to want to go to El Salvador. That's her home. It's the only home she has in the world, Your Honor. She's lost her job. She has no money.
She's lived in the United States for 30 years.
She has no place to stay. She has a son who's entombed in a temporary grave. I mean, what more do we want?
And he's been there for a while. There is no urgent need for her to take care of that. She hasn't taken care of it for a while.
She has a sister who is ill. Now, who among the prosecution can be so heartless?
Okay. Her sister is so ill that she hasn't spoken to her sister in weeks. She doesn't even know when the last time she spoke to her sister was. Doesn't call her. But her sister is so ill that she has to go back there. When she was so ill weeks ago, hasn't called her, nothing. Liar.
To stand up here and say, well, let's make her come back. Maybe there's one or two, but we'll see. But at any rate, it seems to me that in this situation, this lady has made her case, Your Honor, and we should be permitted to have a conditional examination. I do not think that she'll be seen again. And I don't know who could blame her under those circumstances.
She'll be
The
here.
alternative is for this court to hold her against her will. Where's she going to stay? Her daughter won't take her in because of this case. Her daughter feels that there's fear. Now, you may believe that the daughter's fear is unreasonable, but if somebody believes that, Your Honor, you can't talk them into that. We have to consider the totality of the circumstances. And I think the proponent has met their burden. And I would respectfully ask the court that to make a decision to allow us to preserve her testimony. And keep this in mind, Your Honor. And what we do with regard to Rosa Lopez, it says something to all the witnesses who would otherwise come forward in any case in America. It says they're going to be treated with some kind of dignity. They're going to be treated fairly. They're not going to be treated as though they've lied about every little thing. If somebody says they want to go.
Listen, guys, I have to stop at 8 today. I have to, because I think I have a big stream coming. I need as much content as I can get. And Darden's about to get up and to speak. And he speaks longer than 8 o'clock. So what I think I'm going to do is when Cochran is over, I'm ending this stream and we'll start on Darden tomorrow. It's already been well over an hour. So you're fine.
Go to El Salvador because they want to get away from this case. I don't know how unreasonable that is. And they want to give their testimony and not have to come back down here again and be subjected to this.
Mr. Cochran, would you address what appear to the court to be several contradictions in the record as far as Ms. Lopez is concerned? For example, the declaration that she has been harassed by the news media and that it is this harassment that is the major component of her desire to leave the United States, yet she voluntarily consents to a interview with Ms. Villapando. She indicates an interest in the various television coverages, that she recognizes some of the television reporters here, and I have to tell you, I don't know who that woman was. I don't watch court TV. I don't have cable TV.
All right.
I had no idea who that person was. She knows who it is. That she saw that as a personality, somebody that she liked and enjoyed. It shows to me an interest in the press and not a fear of the press. The contradictory statements that she has made about when she is going to leave the country. The statement made by Carl Jones that on as early as last week that he had no knowledge that his client was going to be leaving the country or that she had expressed anything like that. The contradictory statement to the Salingers that she was going to immediately leave to go to El Salvador, which she did not do. The contradictory statements that she made today regarding when she made the reservations to leave, the fact that she did not disclose the reservations in March.
Come on, Judge, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel about all of her lies.
In fact, she denied having any other arrangements. I mean, there are a number of contradictions in what she has said, and that concerns me about the credibility of her statement that she now intends to go today no matter what.
All right, let me address those, please. Thank you. With regard to the press, first of all,
I think there's probably 3 or 4 more.
well, feel free to.
Hold on a second. We got the ultimate liar addressing the lies that he paid someone to say on the stand. Okay, fine.
It's fine.
It's just off the top
Okay,
of my
whatever number you want to bring, I'm more than happy to answer them. First of all, I think that even Your Honor has friends in the press, people that you trust. Well, you did at one point, Your Honor. Let me point this out. You can trust, I'm not trying to hurt the guy, but all of us have people that we may respect or admire in the press at one time or other. Even wise people make mistakes regarding the press. As I understood, and we saw the tape, let's just take that incident. And I want to put it in the perspective of where it should be. She's sitting on a bench back there with her lawyer. She feels safe. Kristen Jeanette Meyer walks past. She recognized and said something like, "You're pretty. I've seen you on television," something like that. This lady, I think there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you hate all the press. Kristen Jeanette Meyer did not have a camera running after her, asking her a bunch of questions. She was walking past. Miss Lopez instituted that. Does that mean she didn't want to go to El Salvador? Does that mean that she doesn't have a fear of what the press has done to her life? I think not, Your Honor. I mean, if you look at that for what it is, that was one person she recognized with her lawyer sitting, hopefully in the sanctity and some safety in this particular courtroom, when she says, "You're a pretty lady on television, I recognize you." Now, the fact that some of us may not see court TV or know who Kristen Jeanette Meyer was, she recognized her. In response to Mr. Darden's question, she said she'd seen some portion of the preliminary hearing. But I don't see any contradiction between that and the fact that she is terrified or concerned about the press and what the press has done to her life, what the press has done to her daughter, what her daughter thinks the press is going to do. I mean, Judge, you perhaps, and we have become used to the press outside your doors all the time. But for regular people who have their regular lives, they don't like that. They like to go when they please. And when it brings problems in the family, that's what we're talking about. So let's just take that. And I think that's an answer with regard to that. Now, secondly, you asked a question about Mr. Jones's statement. Mr. Jones, as I understand it, talked to her as often as he could in talking to her. And at one point, and I've never heard any testimony about whether or not he said that or not. But let's assume that was at some point in February, he said he didn't know.
Well, if you recall, she acknowledged under cross-examination by Mr. Darden that she had heard Mr. Jones say on the 17th that he had been in contact with her and had no knowledge of her any plans to leave.
All right.
That's the state of the
Okay,
records.
that's fine. And we did not. What I meant, we didn't call Mr. Jones on this issue. That we'd be here all
That was
day.
the acknowledgement by the client, and he's speaking for the client.
In that connection, and recall there had been some earlier declarations in this regard. On the 17th of February, because this addresses that issue. So declaration prepared by Mr. Jones in talking with his client with a Spanish interpreter there, where she spells out this fear. The 17th was apparently a pretty frightening day by all accounts for her. She had hidden out again, Judge. She had lost the job now with the Salingers. Keep that in mind. I mean, he loses the job. I mean, does that mean anything to any of us? That she's lost her livelihood. She's lost the job. She's at home at her daughter's house. Her daughter is saying, "You get involved in this case and you're out of here." Channel 34 says they go out and they do a community service. They find her. And all these cameras and everything then show up. There was no interview as such. As I understood it, Ms. Villapando gained her confidence or whatever and came inside the house and then tried to talk to her. She then went on camera. Rosa Lopez did not go on camera. Ms. Villalpando then talked to her and made this statement. And some members of the press perhaps are nicer than others. But there's no interview by Rosa Lopez. And again, she's never said, I hate all members of the press. What she said is, I hate what the press has done to me and my family. There's some nice people out there, Your Honor. And I look back and I see some of the nice ones. But collectively, it's what they become when they want to get a story. And Rosa Lopez is a hot story. So that with regard to that, I see that of no particular moment or consequence. Now, with regard to Rosa Lopez as a witness on the stand, the court had an opportunity to observe her. And certainly, you have in mind her testimony. This lady said she had made reservations through this company, Pan Americana. I heard that, and I went and checked that, and she gave the name of the street, and absolutely she was right. She had said at one point in Mr. Darden's examination that she'd made some reservations, and in fact, she hadn't made those reservations. But from the 17th, when she did that declaration, she's always been clear, I am leaving by tomorrow. And the reason why I thought Zulima Aida was important was, Judge, again, you have to look at Rosa Lopez and look at her history. Some people, Judge, are not frequent flyers. They don't go and buy their tickets a month in advance and stick by it. Some people try to get the best rate. Some people, it seems to me, according to Ms. Aida, make reservations and don't always comply with them. Some people, when flights are available and they say they're going to go, they do it and do it that day. Now, we know from Ms. Aida, she now has reservations to that effect. She was out of town until 1:30 this morning, Your Honor. She slept for no more than 2.5 hours, then met with lawyers, and has been here since before 9 o'clock this morning. So the court has to consider the totality of her testimony with regard to whether or not she's impeached on any point or whatever. The court saw the things that she had to say. The purpose of this hearing was not to tear into Rosa Lopez Day, as the court understands. The purpose of this hearing was to determine whether or not her testimony should be preserved based upon what she has to say. And I keep coming back to the point. She is the one that one has to listen to, not the DAs, not any other witnesses. She is the one, when she says to you, I like you, I respect you, but I'm not coming back here. I want to get out of here. Darden asked her several different ways. Well, what if the DA's office, or what if the judge, out of his budget, pays for her to put her up? And that's an admission, Judge. This lady has no place to stay. She has no place to go by virtue of this case. And so we're going to tar and feather her. And it frightens, it shocks me. Think of the message we want to send around America to witnesses to this innocent lady who comes in here and wants to go to El Salvador to rebury her son, to look after her sick sister, to go to the only place she has a home, to go to her homeland where she is franchised
from 30 years ago,
thrown out of her daughter's home, and come here on her own from another state. I think she deserves a lot more credit than it seems to me she's been given. If the court will remind me of the other issue, I perhaps didn't get it. I'll be glad to respond.
Let's give her a trophy.
Well, just the various contradictions that she had conceded.
I don't know that she concealed these contradictions.
Conceded. She conceded. Contradictions.
Oh, I'm sorry, conceded. I think with regard to Judge, there's a jury instruction which talks about innocent misrecollection or witnesses. I want you to compare these misrepresentations or any concealments or any conceding things she's conceded with the fact this lady stands before you and tells you, I don't want to come back. I don't want to be here. I came here voluntarily today. Now, who can quarrel with that? That's exactly what she did. They ask all these questions about somebody from the Star, whose name has surfaced in other investigations. How credible is that? If she wanted to make money in this case, she has no job. She has no place to stay. She spent one night this week in a car. If a Star reporter offered her $5,000 with the testimony she has to give in its explosive nature, don't you think she would take that? This is an honorable woman. She does not deserve to be maligned. She does not deserve to be treated this way. If they could come in and show she was going to get some money for this, it'd be something else again. But that's preposterous to ask her a question about billboards in her country. And the fact that we have CNN around the world is of no moment. What they don't seem to realize, because they have homes, is she has a place to go to there. She doesn't have a place to go to here. They're not going to do anything for her. So it's easy to beat up on somebody in court, but it's something else again to have some compassion for people. And then, it's easy to beat up on someone in court, but it's something else again to have some compassion for one's fellow man, and especially somebody who's not really a party, We're all locked together in this case until the end. But Rosa Lopez is certainly more transitory in this. And whether or not, and all we're asking is given everything, you consider as like all the witnesses. Judge, you know, if you think about witnesses who've been impeached, in this case, if I started totaling up witnesses, some of them wouldn't even come back in here. This lady is an honorable lady who has nothing to gain or whatever, except she wants to go on with her life. That's all she said to you. If you have any doubt about it, you look her in the eye and ask her that. And she's told you that. She's told Darden that. So I'm asking you to allow her to give her testimony. And I understand the time crunch, but I also understand, in addition to being a lawyer, I want to be a human being about this, about what this
You're not
lady
a human
did.
being.
And I know when I spoke to you last night at 5 o'clock, at that time, I didn't know where she was. And when I found out where she was, I indicated to you I was going to get her back here one way or the other. And you indicated to me to call the district attorney's office, and I followed, and I called Darden and told him that night. So there's an honorable quality about this lady. And I hope that's shown through in her testimony. And I ask the court to consider it. If you have any other questions, I'll be glad to try and address them.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Tucker.
All right. Thank you, guys. Now that we got through that horse shit, we can get on with our day. Whew. Yeah. Sorry, I said horse. You said bull. It's the same thing, right? She's an honorable lady. Honorable. Thanks for coming out, guys. I shall see you all very, very soon. Have a great day. See ya.